these ads have an unintended effect. They don't accomplish their purpose, do they? One of those examples, and it's kind of a little bit of the laughing stock of the ad world, is the Aflac duck. Everybody goes, Aflac, Aflac, and has no idea what the company does. There was another one that went broke. Aflac's open, obviously, but another one that went broke was Pets.com. They had this really cool dog sock puppet. The dog sock puppet became like a cult following. As a matter of fact, he got other gigs on other commercials after Pet.com went broke. The dog sock puppet was so effective that nobody had any idea what he was talking about. So sometimes this stuff doesn't work. Color matters when you're doing product positioning. Many years ago, when I first got in the real estate business at 18 years old, I worked for a company called ERA, Electronic Realtor Associates. And what they told us at that time was that the ugly orange on those signs, looks like the cones when you're going through traffic, you know the signs I'm talking about, was developed by a company called the Color College to create more possible reaction in your peripheral vision. Because ugly orange picks up in your peripheral vision more often than maybe a local real estate agent who didn't think when they put sign colors together, and they kind of put together sign colors that looked like trees, rocks, and grass. So their sign blends in. But if you're driving by and you get that sign, and signs have a lot to do with selling residential real estate, you got to see the sign. If you see that sign, that head turns, wow, that's the one. But if you never see the sign because it blends in, it's a big deal. So right after ugly orange came out ugly yellow, Century 21. And they know it's ugly, they don't care, it works. And color is studied. Color is studied in packaging, to follow your eye movement when you're looking at packaging. How do you work the package with your eyes? When you're looking at other things like shelf position, that's another. Everybody knows about shelf position, don't they? I mean, when you walk in, Wrigley's Gum figured this out. I was out in Phoenix, Arizona, riding around with a friend of mine out there that's very wealthy, in the very wealthy end of town. He pointed up the wealthiest house in the wealthy end of town. He said, that's the Wrigley Mansion. Because they put little sticks of gum at the impulse point, the first people to ever do that in the grocery store. They call it on the shelf position. And nowadays, in a grocery store or in a bookstore or in other things, you think those books on the front are necessarily the best? No. If I want my book on the front, I pay to put my book on the front. It's a bought shelf position. You want your Oreos on a shelf, you're going to pay, if you're Nabisco, to get the Oreo on a shelf in a certain place especially. And you don't want to be down here unless you're selling to the little kids. You want to be right up in here at eye level, and then you're creating color and process to get the attention so that we impulse on the Oreo. And then they lay, Wall Street Journal did a whole study of how they have the cameras up in the grocery stores. Grocery stores are some of the best merchandisers there are. And the cameras up are not to watch to see who's shoplifting a bag of fig Newtons, okay? The cameras are studying how you walk the store. How do you work the store? How's your mind work? Because in the old days, in the 50s and 60s, you'd put the meat and the milk and the bread at the back. It was a simple idea. Those were basics. And to get to those, you had to walk past everything. And then you'd get that stuff, and they were hoping that you'd get something as you went out. Now they're more sophisticated than that. That stuff's still back there, but they've even tried all kinds of different designs of aisles, and you feel like a rat stuck in a labyrinth, don't you? Because they're making you work this store to let me out. They're walking you past as much product as possible because that causes sales. They don't kid around about this stuff. It's very, very, very real. I mean, if you go out there and you're going through the hard labor of pumping your gas, and it's a hot August day and things are bad. So now I'm going to go inside and pay because the pay at the pump thing's not working for some reason. Now I'm aggravated and I'm hot. And I walk in and there's one of these right in the middle of the floor. Now, it's very carefully designed in the floor plan on a chain set of markets. A local market may or may not be sophisticated, but a chain set of markets has an exact floor plan to put that thing in the iced cooler in the exact right spot. The exact right spot is not too much in the way, because if it's too much in the way, I'm already ticked now, I'm offended. Right? If it's not enough in the way, I never see it, do I? So it's got to be right here so that I'm a little hot. I'm a little bit ready for some refreshment. Oh, there it is. Shelf position, the location in the floor plan. It's not an accident. And I walk in and I pick up a Mountain Dew, and a piece of ice slides off the side and drops. And as I do, in my subconscious, I go off a tire swing into a creek. Walk up to the register and pay for this thing what I could have bought a case of them across the street for. This is not a game, is it? These guys are really, really good at what they do. Now today, I might not do a Mountain Dew, but I'd probably get me some good generic water, right? I tell you. Packaging is interesting too, isn't it? The way they package stuff, the design, the look and the feel of the package. All of these things are designed to have an impact on you. You have to be aware of it. You have to be freaked out about it, all paranoid, and they're out to get us. No, they'll come get you with the butterfly net. That's not the idea. But they are very sophisticated, so we as consumers should at least be aware, shouldn't we? We should at least be aware.
I consider at least $500 to be a major purchase.
A major purchase is probably about $200.
I consider over $100 to be a major purchase.
A major purchase for me would be $250.
A significant purchase, when you get ready to make a significant purchase of over $300, your body goes through physiological changes. If you make a purchase of over $300, your body goes through physiological changes. Now, for some people, it's more than $300. For some people, it's less than $300. But whatever is significant in your world. If you have $10 million, $300 might not be significant, right? But if you got $300, $300 is very significant. And you get ready to buy something like a stereo or an item in an electronic store or a major appliance or a car or something like that. You know, your body goes through changes. You get sweat in the palm of your hand, sweat across your upper lip, a little bit probably across here depending on what's going on. Your eyes dilate. Your pulse rate changes. Proteins and endorphins are released through your body. Generally speaking, you are having a chemical reaction called excitement. And it fogs your brain. It locks you down. You're going, whoa. This is so strong that if you ever bought something when you were under the influence, and by the next morning you wake up and you go, oh, what have I done? Has anybody ever done that but me? Raise your hand. That's called buyer's remorse. When you wake up the next morning and you've got this buying hangover. That's so powerful that when I was selling homes in my early 20s, we were working for a high-end real estate company selling custom homes to rich people. And it's so powerful that we were having a problem. We'd get everything done, get the whole thing designed, get them to sign the contract, get the check, and the next morning a certain percentage of them would come back and try to get out of the deal because they had buyer's remorse. Let me out, I've changed my mind. I can't do this, I'm hyperventilating. And we'd have that going on. And so once we started realizing there was a statistical measure of this stuff, the company came in and trained us salespeople to teach about buyer's remorse. And so we would sign all these people up and we'd say, now listen, here's what's going to go on. Normally you're kind of excited right now. And normally a lot of times with people, they wake up in the morning and they go, wow, what have I done? Have I made a mistake? And let me tell you, if you have that feeling, you're perfectly normal. Don't worry about it. Just roll back over and go back to sleep. And you know, it cut our buyer's remorse contract loss almost to nothing. To simply teach people it was going to happen and then normalize it. Now that's not manipulation, or is it? It's something to think about. It's very, very real. And you know, we all like buying stuff, don't we? How many of you are like me? You're the oldest kid in the family. The oldest kid is the one that broke the parents in. And they broke stuff in on us, didn't they? People say, put you in time out. I'm kind of like Sinbad used to say. He said, my dad used to take time out of his day to whip me. So, I mean, and the funny thing is you get a bunch of kids, the older kids, the younger ones, they just don't, how many of you are the baby of the family? You know, the baby. See, everything's a party for you people because you just didn't get nearly as many beatings as we did. Because I think by the time the parents get to you, they're tired. And then the second thing is the older kids, even though they want you to get it, they take mercy on you and they tell you the rules. Don't do that, right? And around our house, when our kids were little, of course they're grown and everything now, but when our kids were little bitty, we didn't allow them to throw one of those uncontrolled temper fits, spit flying everywhere thing, you know. We'd tan somebody's hide, right? Some of you don't like it when I say I tan their hide, and you're what's wrong with North America, okay? Because I love my children, and so far none of them have stolen a car. We're doing good, you know? We love those kids. They're great. But if you really wanted to get yourself in a mess with old Dad, have one of those temper fits in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying. I remember one time Daniel, our youngest, he kind of was in there. He saw something, he wanted to get that motor started. I want it. He's kind of, you know, it takes him a minute to get to full level, right? And the girls, they saw it coming, and they grabbed him, took him over to the other aisle, and they said, "Don't do that in the grocery store." You know, they teach you, right? I was in the grocery store the other day. I saw this little mom in there with a little toddler, and he was in like a Phase 7 grocery store fit. I mean, spit's flying, the face is red, he's screaming at the top of his lungs, "I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it." He didn't realize how close he was to getting it. That vein on her head was doing that. She's holding him up just a little bit too high, carrying him out of there, you know. And she's saying, "It's not in the budget, it's not in the budget." I was scared to death she was going to say, "Dave Ramsey said we couldn't have it." You know what I discovered? I discovered that I have, and you have, one of those grocery store kids living inside of me. I went over to the electronics store, they had the big screen plasma HD thing up. That kid woke up. "I want a big screen." I heard a loudspeaker announcement, "Big screen fit, aisle 3. I thought it was just me, and then I went to the furniture store, and there's this pretty little 27-year-old wife beside the leather couch. "I want leather couch, it smells good, and you're going to get me one." I thought, wow, and I walked down the aisle, and there was another lady beside a china cabinet going, "I don't care if we don't use our china, I want a cabinet to put it in." And then I went to the car lot. There's this great big old linebacker-looking guy, 350 pounds, standing beside a four-wheel drive truck going, "I'd be a real man if I had a four-wheel drive truck." It never snows in our city, but it might. I might even go off-road just once. Oh, you think it's just the guys? I went over and about 3 aisles over by an SUV. There's a woman standing there. She's like, "I want something safe and new with an airbag that's not your mother." Then I went down to the golf store. If I had a really big birthday, I could hit the ball really far like Tiger. Then I went to the boat show. Old guy standing there with his camo on going, "Those bass are outrunning me, I need a bigger motor." Have I got just about everybody yet? All of us got one of those kids living inside of us, don't we? His name is immaturity. We all have a spoiled, red-faced kid living inside of us, and his name is immaturity. And if that child makes your financial decisions, you will be broke your whole life. Children do what feels good. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Adults have a different layer of fun, a different level of fun. It's mature fun. I'll tell you about that. The other day I bought one of my dream purchases. Been a water skier all my life, competition water ski back in high school and college, and I love water skiing. I've always wanted a major killer competition ski boat. Went and wrote a check and bought a brand new one not long ago. That's living like no one else, so later I can live like no one else. But back when I was broke, I had a ski boat with payments on it. Now, I'm doing math. I'm a math guy. While I'm water skiing, I'm figuring out how much it's costing me a minute to ski. Kind of takes all the fun out of it, doesn't it? So that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is, of course, save up and pay for it. And we have to inject that word into our speech that we reintroduced the other night, that ancient word that is seldom used. The word is no. Try it again. No. Now, does that mean you can never say yes? No. If you say no long enough, you get to say yes. If you say no at the right times, at other times you get to say yes. So it's not about never winning or never enjoying. It's about being a grown-up. And that's the deal. So, because you can always spend more than you make, you must develop a power over purchase. A power over purchase. Why is it that I have people come into counseling in our offices or call me on the radio that make $100 or $120 or $130 or $150,000 a year and they're broke? And then I have somebody call me up just a little while later making $45,000 a year and they got money in the 401k, they're out of debt and got an emergency fund. How is that? One developed a power over purchase and had a plan, and the other one is what's known as clueless. And you can not be clueless, or you can be clueless regardless of your income. But income's not your answer. Everything will be okay when I make more. No, it won't. If you don't change your ways, when you make more, you just go get a bigger car payment. Go get a bigger house payment. Lots of Americans celebrate a $300 a month raise with a $400 new car payment. Lots of people do that. And you'll never get ahead until you develop that power over purchase. So, let's look at these 5 things. If you do these 5 things when you're buying a major purchase, for most people, again, that's around $300 or more. It may be different in your household, but establish what it is, because Sharon and I have a rule. We've established that number, and if we're ever going over that number, ever under any circumstances, we talk about it first and we go through these 5 steps. The first one is wait overnight. Wait overnight. Why? So you can kind of get over that high. You can kind of let it calm down, back away from it, cool down. It'll be there tomorrow. Oh no, they've just got one. What is it, a Picasso? Got 16 in the back, shrink wrapped on a pallet. Shut up. And if they don't, you can order it on eBay cheaper than when you get home anyway. Shut up. Wait overnight. Calm down, walk away, go look at some other options. Think about it a little bit. Carefully consider your buying motives is number 2. No amount of stuff is going to equal contentment or fulfillment. And if you're in a blended family situation, a divorced family situation, one guy told me in that, he said, Dave, tell people, please tell people, no amount of spending will get rid of any guilt you've got either. Don't medicate dysfunction with spending. Now, I'm not against stuff. I want you to get some stuff. I just don't want your stuff to get you. So is this a need or is this a want? Let me answer that question for you. It's a want. Needs are food, shelter, clothing, transportation, and utilities. Food. Looks like most of you are doing pretty good. Clothing. No naked people. Transportation. Oh, you want me to walk? Might do some of us good. Walk a little bit. I don't want you to walk 20 miles. But, we have buses to ride. You're kidding! People die! They don't die. They just get on the bus and pay and ride. There's people that do that every day. Do I want you to do that? No. You could go get you a $500 garage sale car and ride back and forth to work, couldn't you? For a little while, and that's you're living like no one else. So later you get to live like no one else. So a nicer car, a nicer house, nicer clothing, a better situation is not a need by definition. It's a want. Is it okay to buy once? Say yes. Yes. But don't call up and tell me I needed a new car. You didn't. You wanted. We were forced to buy a bigger house. They had a gun. The language that we use is pretty amazing, isn't it? And it's reflective of how much rationalization we've done inside of our own hearts. And so we've just got to stop and go, it's a want, I've got the money, I'm buying it, it fits in the budget, shut up. Or, it's a want, and right now, we don't have the emergency fund funded and we're fighting debt. Right now, we're not doing a want. Right now, we're going to stick with need. And we'll come back and do the wants later, and I've taught you how to do that over and over and over again. You just kind of have to think through this. See, what happens is I think we get happiness and fun confused. You can buy fun, but you can't buy happiness. It's fun to go on a cruise. I've been on several. They're great if you hadn't ought to. It's fun. It's fun to go on vacation, take your kids to Disney World, isn't it? It's fun. It's fun to go to the beach. It's fun to have a boat. It's fun to go to the movies. It's fun to go out and eat. These are all fun things. It's fun to have some new clothes. It's fun. But they're not happiness. Because I figured out if you eat enough lobster, it tastes like soap. All this stuff has an end to it, doesn't it? It's the old preacher's joke. I never saw a rider truck fall on a hearse. You're not going to take it with you anyway. So, look through this. Think about it. It's like Joe. Because happiness is different. Happiness is like when I'm tucking my kid in and praying with him. He looks up at me and he's a cool, young, stud, teenager boy. And we've been praying. He says, Dad, I love you. That's good. It was cute when he was 4. It's cool when he's 15. That's good. That's happiness, isn't it? You don't buy that one. You can't write that check. So buy you some fun, but don't chase happiness with money. You'll never catch it. It's a bully in the schoolyard.
Do you know the difference between consumption and investment? A consumer spends money. Consume means to purchase economic goods or services. Investors put their money to work. Invest means to purchase something that offers potential profitable returns. Everybody spends money, and you'll probably be making some significant purchases. At your age, a significant purchase might only be a new cell phone or a stereo system for your car. But whatever the amount is, always follow these 5 basic steps before making a big purchase. Number 1, wait overnight. Number 2, know why you're buying. Remember, stuff does not equal happiness. Number 3, never buy what you don't understand. Number 4, consider what you're giving up to make the purchase. And number 5, get advice from someone. And always remember, if you can't pay with cash, you can't buy it.
It's like the story Joe Lamb, the great motivational speaker, tells. He says it's kind of like when we get ready to go to school. We say, oh, I'm going to kindergarten. And then you get to kindergarten and you go, I'll be happy if I was in first grade and learning to read. And then you get to first grade and go, I'll be happy if I was cool like those 6th graders that run the school like a mafia. And then you get to 6th grade and you look over there in the middle school and go, whoa, sports, cheerleaders, changing classes with different teachers. You get a bad one, you're not there long. It's good. And then you're in junior high and you go, I'll be happy when I get to high school because I'll have my driver's license. And then somebody's brother comes home from college. He says, college is cool, man. They don't even care if you go to class. Man, I'll be happy when I get to college. And then you get to college and your net worth is half a box of no-dos, right? Man, if I could just get out of college and meet that special someone and get married and have 2.3 kids and a picket fence. And then you get out of college and you meet that special someone and you have 2.3 kids, you go, gosh, I want to go back to college. I'll be happy when you get out of diapers and I don't have to do diapers anymore. I'll be happy when the teenagers are gone. I'll be happy when they get married and have little kids so I can change diapers. If you don't watch, happiness is a bully in the schoolyard. It continually draws a line and backs up. And when you step across the line, he backs up and draws it again. Happiness is where you are right now. Claim it for yourself. Don't let stuff get in that equation. You'll chase it and you'll never catch it. The old saying is, he with the most toys when he dies is dead.